Hello, my educator family, and let me welcome you to another Analysis Thursday right with Strategic Educational Consultancy Services. We are in the month of June and July, and our focus is on SEL, the Social Emotional Learning Theory. So far, we have gone two series and we have done two features. This feature that we did on Sunday was done by Mrs. Tamari Johnson Williams, who is a content psychologist and also a lecturer at the Northern Caribbean University. She looked specifically at how can SEL be utilized by teachers in the classroom. And we would have known, if you have been following this series, we know that there are different concepts and different characteristics of SEL, which we briefly look at in the first week. And so this week, she went a little bit deeper to dig in. With me is Mr. Royston Tibby, the all-rounder at Comfort Hall Primary and Infant. And so he is here to share with us his top 3 takeaway points from this presentation done on Sunday. Let me welcome you once more, Mr. Tibby, to our platform. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to such an insightful discussion that you will take us on as we look at the SEL being utilized in the classroom. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Lewis. It's a pleasure. I enjoyed my time here last week, and trust me, it was a wonderful discussion. I'm looking forward to the same thing this week.
Okay, great.
Well, for me, yes. So
go ahead. Go ahead.
Continue. All right. So this social emotional learning theory. Trust me, since you have started this program, I've learned so much from it. And then Mrs. Johnson Williams, she looked at the importance of it. And the first thing that came out to me was that when she spoke about the importance, she said, it helps us to better understand their thoughts, or it helps the students to better understand their thoughts and emotions and become more self-aware, develop more empathy for others within their community and the world around them. And trust me, these students, they need it, right? They need it. And I can remember her also saying, to how interesting this presentation was. It's like it just playing in my head, because trust me, it was wonderful. And so she also said, one thing that popped out at me was that she said that the skills learned within the program, within the SEL program, SEL, social emotional learning. Shown to help students better cope with emotional stress, solve problems, and avoid peer pressure. The same thing that we spoke about last week, right? And she said, basically, my 3 takeaways. She said, how can teachers utilize the SEL in their classroom? Right? And last week I spoke that the component of self-awareness was one that popped out at me. And she said, what can we do to teach this self-awareness in our class? Right? One of the first thing was to provide age-appropriate vocabulary words. And I wouldn't have thought about it this way, but in providing this, it will help the students to know which words to use to express themselves also. And it also helps them to reflect on their feelings. Yeah, it helps them to reflect on their feelings and express how they feel, because sometimes students feel a specific way as a teacher. And I always put myself in the position first. Look at me and say, sometimes when things happen to me, how do I feel? So the students are feeling too. And at times, sometimes as teachers, it's sad to say that a lot of times we don't take the students' feelings into consideration. Not because we're just evil or not because we're somebody who don't care, but sometimes we concentrate more on the teaching and learning, having them understanding the lessons than concentrating on their own thoughts and feelings. And it's good when we can give the students the avenue to express themselves and to express what they're feeling in class, right? Another one, it says you could set up a peace corner where kids can go and reflect on their feelings. And this is something that that popped out at me. this is a good idea for my class. And in September,
Okay.
hopefully principal told me today that she will have a new assignment for me in September. I don't know what that new assignment is. However, it doesn't matter, but
Okay.
I'm saying that this I can implement it in my class. You know, the peace corner where they can go and reflect on their feelings. A lot of times we as teachers we know and we see the importance of reflection. Understand?
Yes.
Because when one is able to reflect, you will look at the good and the bad, the ups and the downs,
There's
you look at your
growth.
strength and your weakness, and so you're better able to make decisions going forward. And this is the same for the students. If we give them the opportunity to reflect on things that they have done or to reflect on things that were affecting them, then basically, trust me, they will make better decisions for the future. Another
Okay.
one, she said that we should provide scenarios and ask students how each situation or experience might make them feel. You know, at times, it's good to put yourself in somebody else's position, right? And creating the scenario, you could create a scenario and say, put yourself in my position, put yourself
Yeah.
in his position, put yourself in the position of your mother, your father, put yourself in the position of the dog in a story. What do you think, or how do you think the dog would feel? You know, just certain things like that. And I see where that is very, very deep in helping them. Another one, the last point that I looked on the self-awareness is that talk about their own feelings in an age appropriate way. And I can't help but stress. This is something that I learned over the years teaching, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
learning it. To have the students express themselves, man, have them talk about their feelings. Because sometimes, it's not that the child is angry. It's not that the child is what's the word I'm looking for now. It's not like the child is really has a behavioral problem. It's just that there's something bothering them that they're not able to express. And once we give them that avenue where they can express it, then basically, I guess that you will see where you'll get more out of that student. And for me as a teacher, when I was looking at that, I'm seeing that I need to do more of this. So trust me,
Mm-hmm.
this presentation was wonderful. So that's it for me for self-awareness. The other point that she spoke about was self-management and how
All right. So
important this.
before you get to self-management, I liked the
Mhm.
part where you mentioned that, as she said in her presentation, the pressure, the peer pressure, when they're able to identify their thoughts and their emotions, then they're better able to deal with those stuff. And we see in a time when this is happening everywhere, that students, they just feel the need to want to feel accepted, and they will be doing things excuse me, they'll be doing things that excuse me, they'll be doing things that will affect their personal growth in the sense of academic and
Yes.
personally overall. If it is
Mhm.
that they are being taught how to deal with these emotions, when to step away, when to open up, when to speak, when not
Yeah.
to, then we will find that even the bullying that takes place, the gang violence that is taking place, we will see the need for there'll be greater peace with community. Sometimes these things begin as a result of not knowing how to deal with emotions, not knowing how to deal with someone who has said something to you, and you don't know how to deal with it properly. And as a result of that, you find that the students or children within our, they tend to flare up a lot. So if we be more pinpoint in dealing with these issues, teaching them the self-awareness, teaching them how to deal with their emotions, then we will have
Yeah.
better classrooms, better students, and also better communities at large. So I
Yes.
like that point
And
that you highlighted.
very much, yes. And one of the things too, the self-awareness, just quickly, it kind of reminds me of the restorative justice process. I'm not sure if you're familiar
Yes.
with that, but yeah, the restorative justice. We did that training at school, and just the just speaking about self-awareness, that's some of the a lot of the
Yeah.
components from this is what is used in the restorative justice system. And so therefore, once students understand this too, they will be able just at first hand to try and restore relationships that were broken without having to go to the courts, without having to do this. Because one thing that popped
Yeah.
out at me, she said, not only preparing students academically and as teachers, we must move away from that thinking that is only the academic side we're focused on. We have, as teachers, we
Right.
must be focused on developing a holistic individual, right? Have the children, have our students develop holistically. The next one, as I said,
Great.
was self-management. Self-management.
Yeah.
And for myself, as I always say, when I was looking at this, I have to put it for myself in it first. I have to put it and say, what are the ways that I have been mismanaging myself? What are the ways that I can better um, carry out
Improve.
self-management when it comes to me and my behavior towards my students? Because she said something about in the presentation. She said that our emotions are our what's the word I'm looking for? Our decisions must be made cognitively instead of emotionally. And I
Mm-hmm.
can put that here, being somebody who is married to, you look at that
Yeah.
sometimes when we make decisions or we make actions based on our emotions, it not go good, right? So we have
True.
to teach students to that they must make well thought out decisions, right? Think about these things before you do them, because when you make decisions based on emotions, sometimes you just flare up and you do things, you say things that you don't mean, right? And in class,
Yeah.
in school, when they're around their peers and in teaching in class, a lot of times students, they just blurt out because of their emotions, because of how they're feeling. But if you teach your students to think before they act, right? Think
Yeah.
about the decision that you're about to make. Say, does it make sense? Is it really necessary? Should I, if I go about it this way, would the problem really be solved? When we think about critical, it came to me that for self-management, having the students think critically. Because here again, with the new curriculum, the NSC curriculum, the National Standard
NSC.
Curriculum that they have moved to, it speaks about the 4 C's, and one of the things is critical thinking. And the self-management here
You're right.
develops critical thinking in the students, right? Another thing is about self-talk. And as a teacher too, I practice that. You do it for yourself and you see how beneficial self-talk can be for you. I think that
Yeah.
in teaching that to our
Yeah.
students too, as teachers, we teach our students to have self-talk. Talk to yourself, motivate
Mm-hmm.
yourself. At times, sometimes we
Yes.
tend to depend on external factors to motivate us. But
Right.
sometimes, on most occasions, we have to learn to motivate ourselves. And for students to understand that, especially in a world like this, we're adults. As teachers, we're adults and we have the experiences. These students don't have the experiences. We need to help them to gain these experiences for themselves, to understand how important it is to motivate yourself if nobody's motivating. And then self-talking to yourself, it doesn't have to mean that it's always, well, it's going to be positive, but it doesn't mean that whatever you're talking to yourself about is always going to be on a positive level. Sometimes you would have to look at it and say, here's what, Royston, do you think that this decision is the right decision to make? Do you think that you can handle this? Or do you think
Right.
that you're making the right decision? Do you think that you're going about it the right way? Good. And then the mental rehearsal, again, very, very important, because in your mind, whatever you're thinking about, whatever decisions you have to make, you have to process it mentally first. Because sometimes if you make decisions without thinking about it, you will end up on a dead end in most cases. So for me, self-awareness, self-management was one of the high points for me. Yeah, should I continue?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So the last one I looked at was social awareness. And this I was taken aback. I was taken aback with this one because myself, at times I realize that sometimes as educated as you think you are, or as how best you think you have things together, you put things together, or you think you're ready
Yeah.
for any situation. At times myself, I am not socially aware, to be honest. And
Yes,
so,
true.
because even sometimes with my students, the way there are sometimes I make decisions that concern them, and I was not socially aware of how it might affect them. But one of the things she spoke about here was having them understand, teach our students lessons that will help them to develop social skills. These social skills, how to meet people, how to greet people, how to ask questions, how to
Mm-hmm.
inquire from people. Because at times,
Question.
certain situations, it's not that the student or it's not that a person who you're talking to doesn't want to talk to you, but it's the way how they're approached by you, right? And also, another one, she said social boundaries, which is very important. My principal always tells me to set social boundaries. When I just started teaching at the school, we were an all age school, so we were up to grade 9. This is
Okay.
the experience I have. We went up to the ninth grade, and me being there as a young teacher, I was very friendly because I went there. I was enthusiastic. I said, "Boy, the world is mine. I'm going to take on the world, and I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to be friends with the students." And I realized that in teaching one of the classes, I think I was at grade 4 at the time when I just started. But the grade 9 girls, they used to come over to my class, come over to, and they would stand at the door and talk to me. And I would entertain the conversation because we were talking about school and they were laughing and all of that. But one of the things my principal said to me is that these girls, they are approaching puberty. And she said, boy, you're a nice young man and you're looking, but you have to let them know their boundaries too. Have them understand the
Yes.
teacher-student relationship and let them know that. So I had to do that, and it's sometimes to let them understand that it's not everybody they can touch, they can hug, all that, because
Yes.
they're students. You have to help them because we're
Mm-hmm.
preparing them not only for the school system where the teacher can shun it, but wider society. And if they're watching the news and see where they're talking about the sexual harassment laws
Right.
in the workplace and all of that, teaching them these things to be socially aware from their younger, it will help them in the future. Because my thing is
As
the
they
ultimate
mature.
goal for me, I said, not to develop. Yes, that's one of my goals to have my students academically sound, but I want to develop well-rounded individuals. You understand?
Individual.
Because for me,
Yeah.
a well-rounded individual, when I was applying for the job at school, one of the things I was told at my interview is that yes, you are academically good, but the thing that gets you the job is because you're involved, you're socially aware, you are involved in many things. You don't only keep yourself in a box. So I think that the SEL, the social emotional
Yeah.
learning theory, as I said, these are some of the benefits that I see that can be reaped from this theory being taught in the school. And the way how I apply it in my class,
Yeah.
as Miss Johnson Williams said, trust me, I see where it will work
Yeah.
wonders.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Tiben. As we wrap up, I just want to make mention of the fact that in order for us to truly grow as educators, we have to engage ourselves in reflective practicing. So we need to self-reflect. And I like the way Mrs. Johnson Williams ended. She said, in order for SEL to be effective, we have to start with
Yes.
ourselves. It cannot be that we are putting it because children live what they learn, and they do as they see. So it cannot be that you are telling them you need to be socially aware, but
Yeah.
then on the other hand, they see the teacher doing and saying things that are inappropriate. You are telling them about self-management. But at the same time, you are not managing yourself. You turn up for class late, you get upset easily, you can't manage your emotions, you throw things at the students, you call them names, you terrify them. When they can't answer the question, you call them names, or you shut down and you're not teaching. So in order for you, I've always said it's about relationship, healthy relationship over content. A child will never get what you're teaching them, Mr. TB, if they don't see you as someone that they can trust and someone that they believe has their best interest at heart. So there are going to be moments, educators, when we're in our classroom, we just have to pause where we are. We can't start the lesson until we get everyone settled, until we ask, how are you doing? Until we do that little awareness bit in our classroom to get them at peace and at ease and warmed up. It's not that you are trying to be friends with the student, but we have to understand that we're humans and we have to teach them the way the brain works. And if the brain is at a point where they can't function, it makes no sense you're teaching them. And so educators, as the TB gave us this in-depth analysis, she provides rich content, because what the case with our analyzer is that he's able to rate each act to himself. So that means he's doing it within himself. And for it to be effective, it has to be coming from inside. They say it is what's inside you that comes out. And so if it is not in you, it cannot come out. So as you rightly said, Mr. Tibb, you're looking forward to September and how you can twist and turn and add additional stuff to what you are doing to make SEL effective in your classroom. And so educators, as we focus on the series SEL, the social emotional learning theory, it is a moment for us to self-reflect. It's a moment for us to plan for what is to come, whether we're going to be virtual, physical, or we're taking on a blended approach. SEL can be used across any context and any construct. It is just us as educators who need to practice it effectively. Any closing words for our educators, Mr. Tibi?
Yes, and
you have any closing words?
Yeah, man, it's just to add to reiterate what you said, to add to it, is that as teachers, we always remember that we must be the change that we want to see, right? Basically,
awesome.
When I look, we have been looking at the social emotional learning theory, and we're looking at the benefits for it in the classroom and the benefits to the students. But honestly, it as I said before, it's going to be beneficial for us, because if this is implemented and is put in the classroom as something that must be used, it will benefit us as teachers too, because the things that we teach, because a lot of times as teachers, there are some things that we never learned in school, and it's when we are teaching it to the students that we learn it also. So therefore, for the SEL, for the SEL theory, trust me, it will be beneficial for us as teachers too. So we'll have a better classroom. We'll have a classroom where the student-teacher relationship is 100% up there, and then we'll have greater improvement in our classroom and in our society. So I'll implore all my teachers, all my colleagues, my friends, everybody, just try to your best to just implement the SEL. We'll go through it, read it, understand it, and trust me, it will be beneficial for you.
Awesome. No better words to close out. Educators, I'm Carla Boswell-Lewis, CEO for Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, where our mission, my mission, is to empower you educators. And as we empower you, we expect that you will empower the students who are under your care. Take care, and we'll see you on Sunday when we close out for the month of Jubilant July. And for August, we have an interesting lineup of principals who have made the necessary changes that they need to make in order to combat COVID and to prepare their educators and their students for the future. Thank you so much, everyone. And Mr. Tilly, will see you next week, Thursday. Thank you all, and have a great week ahead. All right. Take care.